Have you ever stopped to consider the true nature of debt? It's a question that might make you pause, might even make you uncomfortable. But don't worry, you're not alone. In the financial world, debt is a concept that is often misunderstood and consequently feared. So, let's dive in and unravel this complex term. At its core, debt is a financial obligation that requires repayment from one party, known as the debtor, to another, the creditor. It's as simple as that. But in our society, the term debt has been twisted and turned, wrapped in negative connotations that often make us cringe. Yet, debt isn't inherently evil. It's not a monster lurking under your bed, waiting to snatch you in your sleep. It's merely a tool, a financial instrument that, when used wisely, can be quite beneficial. Imagine for a moment a world without debt. It would be a world where dreams of owning a house or starting a business would remain just that, dreams. Without debt, many of us would not be able to afford the larger purchases in life. On the other hand, we can't ignore that debt can also be a double-edged sword. It's a commitment, a promise to repay, often with interest. And when mismanaged, it can lead to financial stress and hardship. But as we peel back the layers, we begin to realize that debt, like many things in life, is not black and white. It's a shade of gray, a balance between risk and reward. Understanding this balance is key to leveraging debt to your advantage. So why does debt matter? Well, it's an integral part of our economic system, a driving force that fuels growth and prosperity. Whether we like it or not, debt is intertwined in our daily lives, from buying a cup of coffee on credit to taking out a mortgage for a home. Understanding debt is the first step to mastering your financial life. So let's continue to explore, to question, and to learn. Because the more we know, the better equipped we are to navigate the intricate world of finance. Did you know that debt can actually be a powerful tool? It's a surprising concept, but very true, provided it's used responsibly. Let's take a closer look at the upside of debt. Firstly, one of the most apparent advantages of debt is its ability to enable large purchases. Think about buying a house or a car. These are significant investments that many people couldn't afford to pay for outright. By taking on a mortgage or an auto loan, you're able to purchase these assets and pay for them over time. The house or car becomes yours now, not in some distant future when you've saved up enough to pay in full. Debt can also be leveraged for investment opportunities. This means borrowing money to invest in something that you expect will generate a higher return than the interest on the loan. For instance, you might take out a loan to start a business. If the business succeeds, the profits could far exceed the cost of the loan, turning the debt into a lucrative investment. Similarly, students often take on debt to fund their education, betting that their future earnings will outweigh the cost of the loan. It's a calculated risk, but one that can pay off handsomely in terms of career advancement and earning potential. In addition, responsible use of debt can help build a good credit score. Regularly paying off debt, whether it's a credit card, a mortgage, or a student loan, demonstrates to lenders that you're reliable, which can make it easier to get loans in the future. A good credit score can also help you secure better interest rates, saving you money in the long run. However, it's important to remember that debt is a tool, not a cure-all. It needs to be managed wisely. Overusing or misusing debt can lead to financial trouble. But when used thoughtfully and responsibly, debt can provide opportunities that might otherwise be out of reach. In essence, debt can be a stepping stone to financial growth when used wisely. It's a concept worth considering as you navigate your financial journey. Like a double-edged sword, debt also has its perils. One of the significant disadvantages of debt is the financial stress and hardship it can impose if not managed correctly. Imagine this. You're walking on a tightrope, and debt is the weight you're carrying. If you're careful and balanced, you can cross safely. But if the weight becomes too much, you might lose your balance and fall. When you borrow money, you're not just committing to return the amount you borrowed. You're also agreeing to pay an additional amount known as interest. This is the cost you pay for the privilege of borrowing. However, high interest rates can make repayment challenging. It's like a snowball rolling downhill, growing larger and faster with every roll. If you're not careful, the snowball of debt can become an avalanche that's hard to escape. And if you find yourself unable to keep up with your repayments, you run the risk of defaulting on your debt. Defaulting is the financial equivalent of falling off that tightrope. It can lead to severe consequences, such as bankruptcy, which is a legal process where you declare that you can't pay your debts. Bankruptcy can provide relief, but it comes with drawbacks. It stays on your credit report for up to 10 years, making it difficult to borrow again in the future. Defaulting on a debt can also negatively impact your credit score. Your credit score is like your financial reputation. A poor score can make it harder to secure loans in the future, and even if you do, you might have to pay higher interest rates. It's a cycle that can make escaping debt seem like an uphill battle. But remember, while debt can be a burden, it's also a tool. Used wisely, it can help you achieve your financial goals. However, mishandled, it can lead to financial distress. Debt, when mismanaged, can be a pitfall that leads to financial distress. But how does one strike the right balance, you may ask? Well, the art of managing debt effectively is akin to walking a tightrope. It's a delicate dance that requires a keen understanding of your financial situation and, more importantly, discipline. To start, let's talk about budgeting. Budgeting is your financial compass. It helps you understand where your money is going and how much you can afford to allocate toward your debt. It's about setting realistic and achievable financial goals, then tracking your progress over time. Remember, a budget isn't a one-size-fits-all solution. Every individual's financial situation is different, so it's crucial to create a budget that fits your unique circumstances. Next, let's delve into interest rates. Interest rates are the cost of borrowing money. They can be your best friend or your worst enemy, depending on how well you understand them. A lower interest rate means you'll pay less over time, while a higher rate can significantly increase the cost of your debt. Make sure you understand the interest rates on your debts and prioritize paying off those with the highest rates. Timely repayments are another vital aspect of managing debt. Late or missed payments can lead to additional fees and higher interest rates, not to mention a hit to your credit score. Automate your payments wherever possible to avoid missing them. Finally, it's essential to remember not to borrow more than you can afford to repay. It may seem obvious, but it's easy to fall into the trap of taking on more debt than you can handle. Before resorting to high-interest debt, consider other options. These might include savings, cutting back on expenses, or increasing your income through a side job. In the grand scheme of things, managing debt isn't just about paying it off. It's about understanding your financial landscape, making informed decisions, and taking control of your financial future. Remember, debt is a tool, and like any tool, it can be beneficial if used correctly or detrimental if misused. Balancing debt is key to maintaining financial stability. And that, my friends, is the art of the balancing act. So, what have we learned about debt? We've journeyed through the intricate world of financial obligations, examining the various facets of debt in the realm of economics. We've uncovered that debt, at its core, is a sum of money that is owed or due, a promise to repay a certain amount under specific terms. We delved into the upside of debt, exploring how it can be a strategic tool when managed wisely. It can fuel growth and expansion, enabling individuals and businesses to make significant purchases or investments they wouldn't otherwise be able to afford. Debt can also be a catalyst for wealth creation, as in the case of a mortgage for a home that appreciates in value over time. Yet, like all things, debt carries a downside too. We learned that unchecked borrowing can lead to a cycle of debt, where the burden of repayment becomes overwhelming. High interest rates can make it difficult to pay off debt, and failing to meet payment obligations can lead to damaged credit scores. For businesses, excessive debt can limit flexibility and increase the risk of bankruptcy. It's clear that debt is a balancing act. It's a bit like walking a tightrope, where the key to success lies in maintaining equilibrium. To effectively manage debt, it's crucial to understand the terms and conditions of the loan, plan for repayment, and avoid borrowing more than can be comfortably repaid. We've also discussed the importance of debt management strategies, such as consolidating high-interest debt or prioritizing payments based on either the size of the debt or the interest rate, commonly known as the snowball and avalanche methods. Indeed, Our exploration reveals that debt is a complex and multifaceted concept. It carries both potential rewards and risks, and its impact largely depends on how it's managed. Debt is a tool, neither good nor bad in itself. It's how we use it that determines its impact on our financial lives.